Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's Amber Shanice here, and I'm really looking forward to today's video because I'm going to be making Sydney Graham's Syd Tie dress. I am so thankful to Sydney Graham because she is the one who I would say really got me excited about sewing my own clothes when I found her channel here on YouTube. I have watched other sewers for many years on YouTube, but for some reason she made sewing your own clothes seem so attainable to me and not as hard as I made it all out to be in my head. I have bought almost all of her patterns at this point, and when starting sewing from patterns for the first time last year, her patterns were the very first ones that I used, and I sold her skyline dress, her lane pants. The list just goes on for how many good patterns she has. This particular pattern, I've been wanting to do it. I'm really looking forward to getting this sewn up today. I felt like Sydney Graham's Syd Tie dress would be the perfect pattern for me to recreate this hack that I saw online. What I like about her version is the fact that she lowered her neckline, which I'm going to like, especially postpartum. To hack this pattern, all that I did was kind of hold the paper pattern up to my body and just kind of eyeballed where I would want mine to stop. And I knew I wanted it to stop right around this area here. So I made a mark of where that was and just sloped it down. Because I took so much off on the inside of the shoulder, I extended it just by about maybe a centimeter or so on the outside of the shoulder. I'll put the exact measurements up on the screen for how low I brought the neck down. But this is my new pattern piece on top of the old one, and so I think I'm gonna like that. And I'm debating still if I want to do one or two ties. I think I might just do one, like the inspiration photo. She did not hack Sydney's dress though, by the way. In that pattern she hacked someone else's dress. I can't remember what pattern it was that she used, but it wasn't Sydney's. It just looks very similar to Sydney's dress. And then for the back bodice, I just left it exactly as is and fixed the top portion to just fit the width of my new pattern. So that's all that I did. That's all that I altered. One more thing, actually. I did alter the pocket bag. Now, I'm sewing size 10 of this dress, and I got the amount of fabric that it recommended for size 10, but for some reason I could not get all of my pieces out of the fabric, which is so strange because that hasn't actually happened to me before with her patterns. I must have cut something off, but it's totally fine. What I ended up doing for the pocket bags, because I don't mind a slightly smaller pocket. Sydney's pockets are like really roomy, which are nice. I do enjoy her big roomy pockets, but just to save on fabric, I went ahead and made a new pocket template that was quite a bit smaller. And because I made it smaller, I was able to get all of my pieces that I needed. Also wouldn't have been able to get all the binding that I needed with the way that I cut the fabric and like it needing to be on the bias. So I used a different fabric that I had just in my stash. It's just this nice cotton fabric. It's navy with these florals on it, like these golden or beige florals. That is enough of me talking. So let's just go ahead and jump right into this make. So first things first, I am going to go ahead and start assembling my bodice. I just grabbed my pattern piece and I need to mark my darts. Now that I've sewn my darts, I'm going to be adding some stay stitches along both the neckline and the armhole on both of the front bodices as well as the back bodice. And I'm going to make sure that for all the pieces, I start from the shoulder and sew down, from the shoulder and sew down on both the front bodices. And on the back bodice, on both sides, I'm going to make sure I start from the shoulder and sew to the center fold of the fabric on both sides, and then from the shoulder down to the armhole. All of my stay stitches are in. I am now going to go over to my ironing board and just iron these darts down. For the Syd Tie dress, she has 4 ties, 2 on either side to tie together. But I'm just going to do 1 tie just right at the center. And as for the placement, I tried this on and just kind of found where I thought it would look best on me. And I just put a pin in that area. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish these ties. And if you decide to do this lower neckline as well, I would recommend just doing the same. Try your unfinished bodice on and just see what height for your tie you'd be comfortable with. I do like finished ends on certain garments, and this one I do want to have finished ends on, so I'm going to show you how I do it. It's very easy. So this is what the tie looks like currently. I just open that up, fold it going towards the back. I'm going to stitch right along this edge here. And now on the finished side, not the raw side, I'm going to just snip that outer edge off so that it looks like this. And I'm going to flip that inside so I have a nice little finished tie. And now I'm going to sew right along that edge. And that is all nicely stitched together with 1 finished end and 1 raw end. The raw end is what I'm going to attach to the dress. Now that both my ties are done, I'm going to lay out my front bodice and attach my ties. And now my ties are pinned in place, and I'm just going to set this aside. I am now working on the bodice binding that's on the inside of the dress. That is what I will be using my separate fabric for. However, because I lowered the neckline, I have to change the height of this binding. And the way that she did this is actually pretty cool. She made like this mitered corner. This is what I'm going to need to recreate. What I'm going to do is take my pattern piece here, and I'm gonna line this up with my bodice. Make a mark for my bodice ends since I shortened it. And I'm just gonna grab my ruler and mark in the new lines. I'm gonna take this on the wrong side and make my new markings. So I have my marks on my bias tape, and I'm going to do the same on the other one but mirror it. And next I just need to grab the measurement of my neckline, starting from the center back to the front bodice curved edge. So it's looking like I'm at about 14.5. I know that that is where I will need to make my mark on my template. That's to sew, and then leave a very small amount for seam allowance. I'm going to cut off my extra, and now I'm left with my 2 new pieces, and I will be able to sew these together at the center seam. With the triangles facing upward, I'm going to be folding up the bottom at 1/4 inch. Now what I will be doing is taking this triangle section from the template, and she wants us to make a mitered corner off of this, which is pretty cool. So we're just gonna take this and fold it on that center line, and now I'm just gonna sew along the diagonal. And now I'm just gonna press my miter corners down with my iron, just so everything lays nice and neatly, making sure that the non-folded edge is what's facing outward. Now for the moment of truth. I really hope that I did my measurements right and everything lines up the way that it is supposed to. Now I'm taking my binding and I'm gonna lay this down. So far so good. This matches up the way that it's supposed to. I'm gonna line it up with my bodice and I'm just gonna start pinning this down. Glory be to God, that worked. I am so happy right now. My measurements worked to fix the binding to the length that I needed. That is beautiful, and now I get to start sewing the binding on. So that is all sewn down now, and the part that I am the most excited about, I can't wait to see what these corners look like when flipped to the right direction. So I'm just gonna cut off some of that extra around the corner just so it has a nice sharp edge when I flip it right side out. And now to flip this out, let's see what it looks like. That is so exciting. That looks so good. So that's what that's looking like. And in Sydney's video, she also used contrasting binding, but for a different reason. I ran out. I would have just used my regular binding, but I like the contrasting binding on the inside. I think it's so cute. I think I'm gonna wanna do that when I make this dress all the time intentionally. I'm going to press down all the way around, and I'll be right back after I'm done pressing this down in place. Now after pressing, I'm going to get this bottom stitched up. I just tried this on again so I could see how far up I want it to go because I'm not using her notches that she said to use, because that'll just be a little too high for mine, I believe. So I tried it on and I'm gonna go up about 2.5 inches from the bottom. That is clipped into place. I'm just gonna sew right along this edge here. That is all done. I am sewn up to the point that I want. Now that I've pressed this, I'm gonna top stitch right along the outer edge all the way around. This is one of the more satisfying patterns for sure. This is what the inside edges are looking like. Everything looks nice and neat on the outside as well. And so next I'm going to put the armhole binding in. I have gone ahead and pressed my armhole binding the exact same way that I did for the neckline and the front of the bodice. And so I'm going to be attaching this to my armholes the exact same way. The bodice to my dress is now done. I have sewn the binding to my armholes and I tried this on just to see what the fit was looking like and seeing if the neckline looked nice, all of my little tweaks and changes, and it's perfect. And so I cannot wait to continue sewing this dress. It has come together so incredibly quickly. I've been working on and off on this dress today while also tending to my family, and I am finishing this dress tonight before I go to bed. Will I be filming the outro tonight? No, I'm gonna film that tomorrow, but I'm gonna go ahead and breeze through the rest of this dress. I am going to go ahead and take the middle tier of my skirt that attaches to the dress. She has notches here on the side to indicate where to put my pocket bags, which I have already serged. I went ahead and serged all of my pocket bags around the edges. I'm gonna line up my pocket with the notch, just like this. I'm just gonna serge along the middle tier edge all the way down. And I'm gonna do this for all 4 pocket bags on both sets of the skirt, on the front and the back panel. I just finished serging the pockets to the middle tier of the skirt, and since I'm here, I'm just gonna go ahead and serge the edges of my bottom tier as well. I will now be taking my pocket bags and flipping them down like so. So here's what they look like. And I'm gonna flip them over and top stitch right down this edge on all the pocket bags. I am done stitching down those pockets now, so they're nice and neat like so. So I'm gonna take my fabric right sides together and I'm gonna pin and sew along all of the edges. So I finished sewing my middle and bottom tier of my dress and sewn together those edges, as well as pressed the seams open on both the middle and the bottom tier. And I'm now going to find the tops of each section, and I'm going to add gathering stitches to the tops of each section. After doing those gathering stitches, I'm going to gather my bottom tier to the width of my middle tier. That bottom tier is now complete, and now I'm going to repeat those steps with the middle tier, and I'm going to attach that to my bodice. So we're going to gather this section to fit the dress. I'm now at the point where I am losing steam very quickly, and with that being said, I have finished sewing and serging the middle tier of my skirt to the bodice of my dress, and all that is left now is to hem my dress. Thank the Lord. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. I am officially done with my dress, and it is so adorably cute, and I cannot wait to try this on and see what it looks like. I am very sleepy. It's super late. I am about to go ahead and get myself all together and ready for bed, and tomorrow I will be trying this dress on so you and I both can see what the final result looks like. So my dress is finally complete, and I think that it turned out super cute. I do have some ideas in mind on how I would want to change this dress further when I make this pattern again, because for my personal style, this dress is a little bit homey. Maybe it's because I'm pregnant and that's why I feel this way about the dress. It's still super cute, but I do think I might like this style of dress on me after pregnancy a little bit more. I did also add some back ties to my dress afterwards just to help add a little bit of shape to this dress, and I definitely really like the dress a bit more on myself with the ties added. But even with that being said, I feel like this is a really great pattern, and I do look forward to making this dress again with a few alterations. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. If you did like this video, I would truly appreciate a thumbs up, and subscribe if you like this type of content because there's a lot more coming your way. I hope you all have a beautiful and blessed day, and I will see you all in my next video.